Yeah, man. Education is elevation. Let me make sure I got the camp. Let me make sure I got this microphone right here. My kids out there doing their thing. Hold on, let's see what this microphone is. Built-in audio default. Is it plugged in? Make sure I get this audio right, man. I know y'all can't hear me that good. Plug the microphone in. Plug the microphone in real fast. Hold on. Get it. We gonna get right. I'm just plugging the microphone in real quick, man. We're gonna have us a quick conversation about my fellow Black Americans being lost in the sauce of American-centric narrative. The great Huey P. Newton, that's the person that's put on my skateboard behind me. He had a quote where he said we should think globally and act locally. I'm gonna repeat that. Huey P. Newton, the co-founder of the Black Panther Party, said that we have to think globally and act locally. There are a lot of American-centric narratives that my fellow Black Americans are, indoctrinated by and or starting to internalize that either white America has showed us how to make models of, to say that whatever goes on in the Black community is universalized and it goes on in the entirety of the world, or whatever's going on in America is a universalized perspective, and therefore everybody throughout the world shares that value. Just being frank and transparent, I think this is a great teachable moment to really talk about like international relations and think about the multifacetedness of human relations, especially from like an international standpoint. Again, Huey P. Newton behind me, you feel me? One of the realest ones to ever do it. He was the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. He said that we have to think globally and act locally. I made a post on my Facebook, today actually, being able to, I feel like, dispel some of the misinformation about these grandiose claims when it comes to Yedolf West, and specifically about his value when it comes to economics, specifically when it comes to the Adidas business, right? And just to make sure we got the full context, I shared a post. This post is why I said, talking about how people say that this individual made Adidas relevant. And, just being a student of hip hop, we can recognize that Adidas goes back to, you feel me, Run DMC times. Now, as a 32-year-old millennial, you feel me, I recognize that a lot of individuals in my generation, they are slaves to the recent. You feel me? They slaves and they being held captive to what's going on right now. Which means that just because you 30 or 28 or 33 or 26 and you feel like, man, when I was growing up, I didn't hear Run DMC. When I was growing up, I didn't know nothing about Adidas. I only knew Jordan and Nike. This does not negate that globally Adidas has been a multi-billion-dollar corporation since before we were born. So when you make American-centric narratives that is able to negate how a particular entity like Adidas is big selling in soccer, you feel me? Big selling in, European culture, you able to recognize that you being lost in the sauce and you are being held captive by American-centric narratives, and also to the relevancy and what's going on right now. Well, we know, just like when white people try to be able to put history or time in a vacuum that says, hey, because what's going on right now, you're able to drink water next to the water fountains next to white people. You're able to take a shit next to white people. This must mean right now is better. And we talk about history. You see what I'm saying? And that same way we able to understand how historically what happened before us always already has a history to what's going on now. That also applies to when we're thinking about international narratives, especially when it comes to the relevancy. You feel me? Another thing that I know, when it comes to this Yedolf situation is really showing how a lot of folks will cap and rap and overcompensate, specifically in the name of being a go-getter, pseudo-intellectual hustler, and really cap for like some white supremacist type nonsense. You see what I'm saying? What does it mean to sit down in the name of Black power, being able to, you feel me, talk about Black culture, and you doing it, dining and whining with, you feel me, white supremacists? You see what I'm saying? Which brings me to another point, historically speaking. I seen somebody in Facebook comments said, hey, when it comes to the claim that Adolf Hitler was frowning upon Jesse Owens when he was able to win those Golden Olympics in 1936 Olympics, that is an American-centric misunderstanding. You see what I'm saying? America's curriculum was able to damn near build an entire, almost literally build an entire historical mantra There's almost a disconnect to what's going on in America. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, American education system will sensationalize Jesse Owens for define the white Aryan concepts of the Nazi Germany. Is the same time will ignore the way in which Jesse Owens as a person was treated here in America. Right now, I'm giving y'all a domestic analysis and an international analysis, showing you that what's going on in America is not always already how the rest of the world views that, which means, you feel me? When we talk about Argentina just winning the World Cup, all the folks down there in Argentina that's rocking their Adidas Argentina jerseys and rocking their Adidas shoes, do y'all think they give a damn about Yedolf West being kicked out of Adidas? So we're able to point out that based in 2022, you feel me? Adidas made $25 billion. No, I said its net worth is $25 billion in 2022. We know you're being facetious when you talk about, $300 million, $400 million. And this is what I know when it comes to wealth, right? I recognize that a lot of us grew up poor and broke, and we can't really fathom how much money, you feel me, $25 billion is. You feel me? Especially being able to conceptualize how much $25 billion is in relationship to 300 million, 400 million, 1.2 billion. $1 billion in comparison to $25 billion is astronomically a lot bigger. And a lot of us can't even fathom how much $1 billion really is. So what does it mean for financially illiterate individuals to make these grandiose claims about finances in the name of being a contrarian? It's almost like a lot of individuals that want to fake in front about how smart and conscious and woke they is. They do it at the guise of being a contrarian. You see what I'm saying? Man, this chestnut checkers. But you don't see the big picture. Hey, life is not a game. Fuck your chess and your checkers. You know what I'm saying? These are bad metaphors, bad similes, trying to understand a complexity of the issue that deals with power and dominance. If you believe that a simple understanding of chess and checkers is able to explain away the complexities of white supremacy or international relations when it comes to economics, you're a dumbass. Clear. Point blank, period. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Just a few more things. I don't want to be too long-winded. When we're able to acknowledge that the brands of Adidas has been sponsoring athletes both internationally and domestically since the 1930s, what does it mean to center their entire relevancy around who you listen to in terms of hip-hop? I think that I feel like when you travel or when you deal with a lot of non-American white people or non-American people, period, they always talk about how a lot of white Americans center themselves in terms of what's going on in the world and believe that the American value, the American perspective, the American understanding of a particular situation or historical event, it must only be seen through the eyes of an American. That's what a lot of Black Americans is doing when it comes to this Yedolf West bullshit. You believe because hip hop is so relevant to you and hip hop is the center of your understanding in the world, this must be the same for the entirety of the world. And to me, that's just not only is it empirically false to understand the world like that, it's a line for you to justify not only bullshit, but literally push rhetorical violence, theoretical violence, and in some instances, literal violence because you capping. You see what I'm saying? I know that a lot of us are looking for the Messiah. A lot of us are looking for the great Black leader that's able to show us the way politically, socially, and economically. When you do that, it starts to make you where you distance what's really going on from your logic and you start to, you feel me, rational with bullshit. And that's what we shouldn't do. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to recognizing the African diaspora, we can see that soccer or football and other places, what they see it is, it has way more cultural relevance in other countries outside of America. Adidas is one of the biggest brands globally speaking when we're talking about what we call in America soccer and what the other people call football. Do y'all believe that the people within the African diaspora is so lost in the sauce in the way that we cat for billionaires in America, they give a damn about Yedolf West being kicked out of Adidas? Do y'all think that the people of Ghana or the people of like whatever teams is being sponsored by Adidas is no longer want to be sponsored by Adidas or no longer is selling Adidas in their country because of what happened to your bullshit ass hip hop god? That's cap. You see what I'm saying? That's the same way that white Americans will be able to view any other international event and say, hey, because this is how it relates to the American economy, this is how it relates to the global economy. You see what I'm saying? That's what you've learned from your white American counterpart. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When I say education is elevation, I'm recognizing also that how miseducation is able to almost put us at disadvantages. So when I say education is elevation, I'm speaking critically. I recognize that all of us that went to public schools in America, we've been indoctrinated to always already view the world through an American nationalist lens that says that, hey, however America view this country, that's how the whole world view this country. If America don't like this leader, the whole world don't like this leader. If America or people in, you know what I'm saying, on the West or the East or liberals or Democrats saying they don't like this particular thing, then hey, man, we obviously right. We doing like, don't do that. You feel me? The term that I learned is called ethnocentrism. Is when you center a particular ethnicity or cultural understanding around the entire world. And it's just like, that's not good. Almost just like if I threw another cute word that you're more familiar with, that's white supremacist thinking at par excellence, textbook white supremacist thinking. If you believe the way in which your feelings, your emotions, experiences, you know what I'm saying, the world is how everything goes or always already matters, congratulations. You've been indoctrinated. You are lost in the sauce of American ethnocentrism. And you believe that however you feel me, people in hip hop view Adidas is how the folks in Russia view Adidas, in Germany, in Ghana. You see what I'm saying? And just to be clear, this teachable moment is much bigger than me just talking shit about Yedolf West and talking shit to individuals that get lost in the sauce of misinformation and push these sensational claims about Yedolf being able to own 100% of Yeezys. Which brings me to another point. As a content curator and an individual that got a little bit of legal literacy, I understand that what I create, education is elevation. I own that. Research with me, search, I own that. Even though I own those trademarks contractually, I can sign some papers to make it where a entity has ability to, you feel me, creatively use my shit. You see what I'm saying? So you being able to sensationalize, man, Yedolf got 100% of this and they stealing this, that, and the other. Again, I think that you're setting up individuals to have like almost like what people say that usually go for him, so you shouldn't have that victim mentality, victimization. Like that's not good thing to push. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have a understanding of how contracts works, how context work, how content rights work, how intellectual property work, if you don't get how when you sign on to a big old company that's a machine that's pushing your productivity or pushing your production, how it's always already something in that fine print. You see what I'm saying? In policy, they'll say it's always fact that's attached to different legislations. A lot of y'all are just making surface level claims, not being able to understand that even when we talk about business, it's way more complex than the way you want to put it at. You see what I'm saying? And listen, I ain't making shit like Kanye West at all, but I recognize from a contractual standpoint, if I sign on with Young Turks or BET or Hulu, or there are going to be things in terms of creativity of me being contractually obligated to fulfill a service that if I create this while I'm doing this service for them, it's like, y'all, you know what I'm saying? So for me, just go back to like a lot of individuals faking the front about being financially literate, pushing financial illiteracy in the name of being a contrarian, woke, pseudo-intellectual motherfucker. And it's just like annoying. You see what I'm saying? Not only is it annoying, it's like, hey, when we talk about setting models intellectually and setting models for critical thinking, think about within the world. You know what I'm saying? How when we click post, we don't get to choose who see that post, but also recognizing the folk you caping for, they ain't gonna see that shit. You see what I'm saying? Yedolf is not gonna see that post to you. You feel me? Bending over backwards to, you know what I'm saying, get that thing in you. I ain't gonna go there with you, but you know what I mean? But the people that is gonna see it is like, you know, the people that's more impressionable. May it be somebody in youth or somebody that look up to you. And think about the critical thinking model that you're setting that says, hey, it don't matter if you support slave masters. It don't matter if you talk crazy about, you feel me, individuals that was able to mobilize the Black community. As long as you got $1 billion and you can make some hits, we ain't tripping on you, you know? And being from like from the west side of Bryan, Texas, where I was raised there, I was always taught just because you're real, just because you got some money don't make you real. See what I'm saying? Or I was taught another understanding. It's a lot of rich fake people. You see what I mean? And I think that when we talk about international relations or think about like financial literacy, the ability to generate profit doesn't, you know what I'm saying, illustrate geniusness. You see what I'm saying? That just means you understand capitalism, and your understanding of capitalism can generate profit. Generating profit does not equal geniusness. Generating profit does not equal smartness. Generating profit equals hustle. That's it. And the fact that we're trying to put on a whole bunch of freedom fighting revolutionary stuff when individuals have finances shows how capitalism has really did us a dupe. I digress, man. Education is elevation, research over me search, facts over feelings. Am I giving you a nice, passionate, you feel me, analysis? You damn right I am. But can these claims be backed up? Damn right it can. You know, so just to what inspired this little old live, I'm just gonna kind of give my two pieces. You feel me? Read this. You know, reading is fundamental. I'm in the read move. So the original individual, shout out to Base 101. You feel me? That's the Facebook that spurred this teachable moment. They say Kanye owns 100% of Yeezy, not a percentage. That's something he built from the ground up. 100% Adidas said they will lose $246 million this quarter after terminating his contract. That's crazy. That means he was bringing them at least $1.5 to $2 billion a year in sales. He made Adidas relevant, and they stole his designs. We bought Yeezys because they were Yeezys, not because they were Adidas. I wonder who is the we that he speaks of. My response, you know, we call this in debate a nice little low rebuttal, but it's kind of like a constructive / rebuttal because I got like some embedded arguments that's made up in there too. Peep gang though, you know, like I'm really proud of myself of how I put this together, right? I said he made Adidas relevant, LOL. The same Adidas that's been a part of hip hop since Run DMC. Adidas AG net worth as of December 22nd, 2022 is $25 billion, but y'all capping over a few $100 and over a few $100 million in a quarter. LOL. Jesse Owens was the first Adidas athlete who pissed off Hitler in 1936 Olympics wearing Adidas track cleats, disproving Hitler's concept of Aryan supremacy. Guess what? I can be real too in this. In terms of reading this, I recognize how that last sentence in that quote unquote paragraph, how it links to the American centrism. And that's the part of what this whole, you know what I'm saying, this job is about. It's not about the example that I'm using to contextualize it. It's about the actual big picture. The big picture is American ethnocentrism, where you're trying to universalize American values and American perspectives, and that's bad. That pushes Western values and also marginalizes what's going on in other countries and regions outside of the West, outside of America. You feel me? If you claim to be on some pro-black shit, but then you always fall back into an American narrative, disrespecting and or ignoring what's going on in the African diaspora, you full of shit. You see what I'm saying? I go on to say, some of the more notable currently active athletes, the players signed with Adidas include James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, Derrick Rose, and Kristaps Porzingis, which proves Adidas is a relevant brand in sports and music globally for damn near 100 years. And let me ask y'all a question. We're giving this example of Kristaps Porzingis. For those of the NBA fans that know where Kristaps Porzingis is from, his home country, I wish I can zoom in right here. How much do y'all think they give a damn about what's going on with Yedolf West and their support of Adidas? Do you know that Kristaps Porzingis is one of the biggest stars that came out of his country? Do y'all think that the countrymen of his nation care so much about what's going on with Yedolf that they gonna stop doing it? Somebody in the comment section said, well, I understand what they're saying because I didn't buy a pair of Adidas until Yeezy was there, and I ain't buying no more Yeezys. That sounds like the same thing our European counterparts do in America that always already want to center themselves and marginalize shit that they don't care about and or didn't experience. You see what I'm saying? That's wild. You feel me? I go on to say, it's obviously more complex than them owning 100% of the brand if they can still use the brand designs. It don't take a rocket scientist to say that, especially when the math ain't mathing. You feel me? You own 100%, but they can steal it though. So legally you own 100%, but legally they're still able to push the product. Yeah, man. What you faking in front and presenting to the people, it ain't there, man. It ain't there. It ain't there. It ain't there. It ain't there. And this is how I ended it though. And this is how I'm gonna end this live. Boys will root for billionaire supremacist sympathizers that actively eats and dines with self-proclaimed white supremacist Nazis. It's not chess, it's checkers. It's not checkers, it's chess, they say. But you don't see the big picture. Y'all claim that shit while empirically pushing false narratives in the big picture. Education is elevation. Life is not a game. Fuck your chess and your checkers. A false correlation. You trying to use metaphors and analogies to talk about real life shit, even if you're trying to do it in a way that make it where it's bite-sized pieces people to understand. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people say it's just not checkers. They always have some, insidious way of trying to justify some fuck shit. Some shit that's anti-us because it's pro-you. Capitalism breeds this understanding of individuality that says that if I'm able to go get it and able to understand it, then I can chastise any other individual that doesn't have it because, hey, me going to get it proof, you can go get it. On an interpersonal level, maybe in theory, it might make sense. When we start thinking about access and resources and, socioeconomic backgrounds in terms of education, and think about experiences, the idea that says that, hey, if Bill Gates can be a billionaire, then you can be a billionaire. We see that glass ceiling effect is how capitalism is a fuel, and how we see that's how capitalism is able to get a whole bunch of hundredaires and thousandaires doing the dirty work of millionaires and billionaires because, hey, you too one day wish to be able to benefit from the tax breaks the billionaires and millionaires do, even though the percentage and likeliness of you doing that is slim to none. You see what I'm saying? For me, it's just like you penny hustling, getting pimped by the muck, making the dollars, and it's like you don't recognize that you feel me? You beating the streets, moving in circles. You beating the streets, moving in circles in the territory that you trying to get into. You ain't gonna never have access to it. So when we talk about, hey man, well, you was able to get this, so I was able to. Nah, that's really not how life don't work that way. You feel me? Oh, well, name something that you can do. Name something you can't do that white people can't do. It's like we can go there, but I think that I say that for another video. We just understand that when it comes to international relations, how individuals are educated to understand themselves and the world they live in is deeply structured and determined on the society they grow up in. What we know is that a lot of African, Asian, European cultures don't indoctrinate their citizens to only understand the world through their nationalistic understanding. You feel me? That's the reason why really America lasts and we losing. You feel me? When you think about the rise of China or think about, you feel me, really any other rise of a nation state globally, and we see how America taking the L or we falling behind, we falling behind because everybody now is just falling in love with capitalists. It ain't even about what you know, it's about what you got. You see what I'm saying? And the other countries that figured out that's not really what it's about. That's how we make it where we incentivize exploiting the citizens in name of you two being a billionaire. Hey man, education is elevation. I lied and said that I was gonna stop, but let me just see what the comments is getting into. Oh yeah, Yedolf Hitler, Kel. Yeah, Yedolf Hitler. We ain't even calling about it. You feel me? Yedolf Hitler. You know what I'm saying? False. China is an ethno state. Hey, Ali. Even if you want to claim it as a ethno state, you claiming that does not negate the point that I was making in terms of China being a nation state that is on the rise, specifically because how it has distinct values and distinct functions from America. So thank you, I guess, but that don't disprove the big picture of what I'm trying to say. You feel me? With that being said, too, let me tell y'all something, man. My real name is George Lee, but y'all know me as Consciously, right? Before y'all knew me as Consciously, I was busting ass collegiately in a policy debate setting. So when it comes to trying to use point for point refutation, or y'all trying to use that generic debate, you feel me? Generic debate jargon about, you feel me, red herrings and all of those bullshit. It's like I'm built for that. I'm built for that. As a matter of fact, the way you know me is because of the portable skills that I was able to develop in college policy debate. And that's the reason how you know me. So when y'all try this little bullshit right here, it's like, nah, you got to come better with a better claim and warrant. You feel me? A better claim and warrant. And I bet you the person that left that comment, they probably be on some contrarian shit. That's what I've learned. A lot of you contrarians are really get caught up. You feel me? If I give you a 10-minute analysis, you'll try to understand that if you disprove 10 seconds of the 10-minute analysis, that you're doing something. You see what I'm saying? And you'll talk about the big picture. Now, the big picture is I made a meta analysis and you're only trying to understand it from the micro claims that was made. You feel me? I'm literally saying that there is an American centric understanding that a lot of black people is lost in the sauce in when it comes to cultural conflicts. And you think the way in which black folks understand it in America is how all even black people think about it in the diaspora, and that's cap. That's not how they work. Soccer is big in the West Indies. Soccer is big in the Caribbeans. Do you think that they got their head so far up Yedolf West ass that they feel like, man, I'm not even going to involve myself with this brand anymore because of Yedolf been hitting? Like, y'all just make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? It don't make sense. The math ain't mathing. You feel me? But I don't blame you though. You know what I mean? From a national standpoint, America has a piss poor education system. And as a result, a lot of us that come out of the education system, we have horrible critical thinking skills, and or we only know what we've been told. We don't, you feel me? What the Bible say that seeking you'll find, want the truth find. You don't do that. You feel me? It's just like whatever they spoon fed your ass in 11th, 10th, 12th grade, 9th grade, and what you stayed with. So now you 30 years old, 25 years old, 40 years old, still working from a paradigm and framework that you created when you was in 11th grade, 12th grade. And you trying to come at me about my intellectual analysis and how I'm critically thinking. Yeah, man. Have a stadium of seats. We're not trying to hear that shit. You feel me? And just don't be lost in the sauce in American centrism. I'm going to start at how I ended it. This skateboard right here, this is a portrait of Huey P. Newton. Shout out to Oakland. You feel me? Shout out to the Bay Area. Huey P. Newton said that he also said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. I'm gonna repeat that. Huey P. Newton, he also said that power is the ability to define that phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. The phenomenon that we were seeking to define to make it act in a desired manner today was American centrism, ethnocentrism, the way in which black folks become lost in the sauce of what's going on in America, and you try to universalize that for the rest of the world. Understanding that if we think globally and act locally, like Brother Huey P. Newton said, we will have better analysis and have better, well-rounded understandings of what's not only going on in the world, but also what's going on here domestically. You feel me? Here nationally. You see what I'm saying? Education is elevation. You know, today, you feel me? This live is brought to you by this red professional shit talking hoodie that's also available at theconsciously.com. I got a few other colors too. I think I'm gonna make a different iteration of this sweater too and make it where it just like professional shit talking, man. Shout out to my fellow professional shit talkers. It's been real. Holla